Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Downey with Barrier-Free Contractors. This is the accessible, barrier-free homes channel, combined with the Accessing My Home podcast, a little two-for-one action. I like it. We're speaking and collaborating with some of the best experts in the mobility world, advocates for not just the, the physically challenged, the mobility challenged, but there's also financial people that are involved in this. And we're fortunate to have one of those with us today. Today, we're going to speak with Mynor Ramos. He's the owner of the TOC Agency. And Mynor is an expert on financial issues with a background of real estate, mortgages, insurance, and really understands the importance of setting up many financial documents. Now, those are especially for those with mobility challenges and anyone that may have children with special needs. He's going to touch on some really cool subjects. And I want to thank you, Mynor, for being with us here today.
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it. And it's a pleasure being here.
Good deal, bud. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about trust documents and what they mean for your clients and for people in the mobility challenge world.
Right. So what I like to do with this is, just to give someone a picture of what this looks like. So very recently, there was a movie called CODA, right? It stands for Children of Deaf Adults. So I want you to start with that in your mind. Children of Deaf Adults, CODA. You can Google it later. You can look it up. And I think that if you have or know someone who is deaf, that would be a good illustration. So I want you to think in terms of children of deaf adults, meaning that the parents are deaf. The children could be deaf also, but maybe not. Right? So let me run a scenario by you. And my only disclosure to you is this. The reason why I can talk to you is because I'm not an estate planning attorney. And that's a wonderful thing for everyone. I'll tell you why in a minute. And so the concept is, I want to help you understand those documents, what they do, but more importantly, why. So children to deaf adults. Imagine there's a couple, they're deaf, and they decide to go out on a date night, and they have two children, and the children are also deaf, right? Unfortunately, something happens along the road. Drunk driver comes, the opposite side, they hit head on, both parents pass away. I want you to think about what's happening here. Those two children are now under the jurisdiction of the government. Now, I hope that I shocked everyone. I hope that I disturbed everyone's thinking, because no one thinks about these things until it happens. So what's the solution? So we'll have opportunities to talk about that a lot. But in a revocable living trust, those parents, if they would have taken the time to document exactly all the wishes that they have, they would need to have 4 very important financial documents. The first one is their will, and there's so many different ways to do it, but these are their wishes. The thing about a will, it is contestable in the courts. So what happens in a will, if that's the only thing you have, is that it will go through a process called probate. We'll have a different video about this because I want to be able to explain that to you. But then you also have your power of attorney, your financial power of attorney, and you have your health proxy or your health power of attorney. Now, why are those things important is because if the parents didn't die, but they were unresponsive, and they were in a coma of some sort, somebody would have to come in and act as their health agent to be able to, take care of their children, right? That's it. Now, the trust document, especially for anybody with mobility issues, anyone who has any child with disabilities, special needs, all of those categories are properly documented in the trust. The beautiful thing about the trust, it is not contestable in the court of law. So you avoid the lengthy and costly process of probate. Now, here's what I was going to tell you. The difference between me explaining this to you as an estate planning coordinator, not an attorney, is that when people talk to attorneys about this, they get attorney language. Now, I have a lot of friends that are attorneys. I'm not against that. What I really want everyone to get is that unless this is taken care of, you have to overcome the reasons why people don't do it. They think it's too expensive. They don't understand the language. They don't want to deal with it because it's painful. Well, let me tell you this, and we'll kind of wrap it up with that. Unless you've dealt with this before, when Kayla taught me so much about this concept. In fact, the reason why we're doing this is because Kayla had a passion for this, and she was the one that was helping me to develop this. And in the summer of 2021, unfortunately, she became ill, and she was in the hospital for 4 months. And then, she went into eternity. Listen to the language that I use. She went into eternity. She didn't pass away, right? There's a difference. There's a difference, and when you explain it that way. And so that's what allows me, that's what gives me the strength to carry on her legacy. But I wanted to just give you some high level, the documents that you must have, the reason you must do it. And if I didn't paint that picture for you, it would just be another estate planning conversation.
Okay, so wonderful. I want to end this now, and then I want to pick up on this again in the next one. Would that work for you?
That works wonderful. It's my pleasure.
Okay, so here's the deal, folks. These little tidbits that Mynor, they're not little tidbits. This is big tidbits. If there is such a discrepancy as big or little tidbits. So Mynor gave us a bunch of good stuff. So what I would love for you to do, subscribe to this channel. You're going to hear things like what he's bringing to the table from many of our experts, but specifically Mynor in this case. So Bud, thanks again. And we're looking forward to speaking to you on the next journey. Okay. All right. We'll talk.
All right.